Hello and welcome to English 272, English Literature from 1790 to the present. I'm very excited that you're here and in this course, and I'd like to take a few moments to introduce myself and to go through our course site just to make sure that we're all on board and have an idea of how to navigate the site. My name is Dr. Renee Dupre, and I have been teaching online since the 1990s. And I'm really excited to be finally having a chance to put a British literature course online. So this semester we will be just romping through a tremendous amount of wonderful literature, looking at so many amazing works, and I hope that we can do it justice in this online environment. I am sitting right now on the home page, and this is what you will see when you first log on to the course. I've set it up so our modules are the home page, and that will give you an overview of everything that needs to be completed for the course. There are 4 modules. The first one is what we are working on this week, the course overview and orientation. Obviously, that is going to be the shortest module of all. The second one, the Romantic Era, will take us about 5 or 6 weeks to go through the really incredible works of that relatively short period in British literary history. So we'll be wrapping that one up about the end of September, at which point your first paper will be due. The second module will be looking at the Victorian Era. Again, another extremely prolific and productive era in English literature. We will spend a month on that, and before moving on to finally the 20th century and giving ourselves a little bit more than a month, although there will be a Thanksgiving break in there, to look at some of the major movement that happened during the 20th century and up to the present day in English literature. These 4 modules will consist of many different activities. The activities will be listed in each module. However, I want to emphasize that you can also navigate to any part of the course by using the navigation bar on the left-hand side. So if you don't understand or don't know what discussions are due this week, just go ahead and click on the discussions link or the assignments link for the same. I also want to point out that on the right-hand side of your page, you should have your own personal feed that will tell you exactly what is due that you have not completed or that you have completed, and that what will be coming up over the next week or so. With that, I'm going to go ahead and click on Module 1 so we can see what we're doing this week. It will also give you a little bit of a model for what you'll see in the other modules as we get to those. In each module, I will include instructions, the discussion posts, a syllabus quiz, or a quiz, and whatever assignment might be associated with that module. And each module will have one major assignment associated with it. Again, this week, the big things I'd like to see us do are introduce each other, get to know each other a little bit as writers and scholars and readers, and to practice navigating around the course just so that we are able to focus on the content for the rest of the course rather than having to focus on the interface of the online environment. So with that said, I'm going to click on the sample instructions in Module 1. And this is the type of thing that you will see on each module. I will have obviously more detailed instructions for the longer modules, but listed out one by one the steps that I expect you to complete for that week. In this week, the first thing is looking at this course orientation, which you're doing right now, reviewing the syllabus, reviewing a little sheet on discussion expectations, and I cannot emphasize enough, as we will see when we look at the syllabus in a minute, that the discussions are really a centrally important part of this course. And then looking at some discussions that you are expected to complete for the week. Each week there will be a quiz, and whatever assignment is appropriate. So the instructions will be there in each module. Again, you can see that we came up on the pages link. All pages on the course are available through that link. I'm going to go back to the home page right now so that we can again take another look at what else is available. This week, I would also like you to review the course syllabus and schedule. I will emphasize that the course syllabus is our contract for the course. It contains a tremendous amount of information, not only about the course itself, but about my expectations and policies, and about what you can expect of me. So please review it very carefully. I will briefly go through a couple of highlights here, but I expect you to know it well enough that you can pass the syllabus quiz. Again, this is fall 2016. The course is online. I am more than open to and would really love to have a couple of face-to-face meetings during the semester and or set up some synchronous times when we could all meet online. I know that most of you had reserved some time in your schedule, so I'm hoping that we could make something like that happen. These are the best ways to get a hold of me: phone or Skype, and email, or I really do prefer that you email me or contact me via the course Canvas announcements or Canvas messaging is the best way to get a hold of me, but if you really do need to call me, please feel free to do so. The course description, I think I've gone over that already. I just would like to emphasize the really stunning amount of material we will be covering, and let you know that I do expect you to read everything. I don't expect you to drop the rest of your life for it. So if it gets to be too much as we're moving along through the semester, we can probably renegotiate. There's just so much to cover in such a short period. And I would also like to look at some of the activities we'll be doing during the course. The first and most important will be that critical reading. And I want to emphasize that we will be discussing some of the works, but I will hold you responsible for all of the assigned readings. The discussions are a critical part of the course, and because we will be writing a lot in the discussion section, I feel like I want to really lessen your load in terms of how many formal assignments you'll be turning in. So I am really emphasizing the discussions this semester. I will be looking for basically the equivalent of a short response paper from each of you each week on each discussion that we have. A minimum of 2 discussion questions will be posted each week, and I expect you to give me a pretty robust response and then to respond to at least 2 of your peers' discussions. I know you can do that on Facebook, so I'm hoping you can do it here too. Critical writing is going to be a part of the course. There will be 2 formal writing assignments. Each will be a 3 to 5 page paper. That's what I'm conceiving of in scope. One will ask you to perform a close reading of a poem, and the other one we will adopt a different literary or critical approach to a literary work. That is estimated. I am not going to say if your paper is 6 pages or your paper's a little less than 3 that it's not acceptable. So we'll move on to more details around that as I get you those assignments. The quizzes will be weekly, and I want to emphasize that these quizzes are a chance for you to assess your knowledge. All quizzes will be open book, and all quizzes will also be open to you. You can repeat them as many times as you want without a penalty until the quiz closes. I do expect you to complete all quizzes for the course. But these are really a chance for you to assess your own knowledge and make sure that you are learning what I'm expecting you to learn, and I will assign some points for completing the quizzes. However, I'm not trying to make this something that is really hard for you to pass. And finally, we will do a final project, which I'm excited about, and I hope that it sounds appealing to you as well. In lieu of a final exam or a final large paper, I would like you to create something in whatever form you choose. That could be a presentation, a song, a poem, a play, and an essay is, of course, acceptable, that demonstrates your grasp of the course content and objectives. I want you to find a way to show me that you really understand what we're talking about and that you've met the course objectives. And I will be open to discussing whether you want to work on those in groups as well. Speaking of course objectives, here they are. They are laid out pretty clearly, and I would like to emphasize that I will stick strictly to these as I evaluate your performance in the class. By the end of the semester, I expect you to be able to demonstrate the reading knowledge of the major authors and texts in the development of English literary tradition from 1790 to the present. So if I ask you who William Blake is, who Samuel Taylor Coleridge is, who wrote The Mill on the Floss, you should know that. You should have some sort of basic understanding of who the big players were. I expect you by the end of the semester again to be able to define and use the basic literary genres and basic literary terms and use them appropriately and well. To be able to provide examples of some different critical and interpretive strategies, different ways that we can approach these texts. Describe the important cultural, historical, intellectual, artistic, and theological contexts of major works in English literature from 1790 to the present. That, again, is why I will be asking you to read all of the prefaces in your books and to write effective critical analyses of literary works. Those will be the 2 papers. So if you can show me that you do that at the end of the semester, that's what I am looking for, that you can do that and do that well. There's one required text for the course, and that is the Norton Anthology of English Literature, Volume 2, Edition 9, I believe, yes, and it is available at the bookstore. I also expect you to have a good recent handbook of composition and style that can help you with MLA style for your papers and also just with general correctness for any writing you do. There are some online sources that I've listed here, so don't run out and buy something if you don't have one, but please do make use of these. I am not going to accept papers that are full of grammatical errors. As a matter of fact, I will, if they are too bad, I will return them. And I also recommend a few resources and texts, especially if you are not an English major or even if you are and you feel like you need a little bit more background in theory and in really what it is that English professors do. And I've listed some really wonderful resources here. Peter Barry's Beginning Theory will give you a little idea of some of the different theoretical approaches to literature. Thomas Foster's How to Read Literature Like a Professor is just a wonderful book that I recommend for everybody. And of course, Edgar Roberts' Writing About Literature is a classic. You can note it's in its 13th edition at this point. You should have completed English 111 to be in this class. This is not a writing class, and I do expect you to be able to write well. We will be focusing on content in this class. The assignments and grading are detailed here. Again, 300 points, 30% of your grade will be linked to your discussion participation, your attendance, and other ways that you'll be in the class and helping to keep this class afloat. The analytical papers will be 40% of your grade, the final project 20%, and finally 10% for those quizzes. Just a note on course mechanics. All assignments will be due on Monday nights at 11:59 p.m. And I do expect things to be submitted on time. You will be getting a detailed summary of each week's activities that will be posted each Friday by 11:59 p.m. or before. Look in the modules, and I am actually trying to get everything up within the next couple of weeks so that you don't have any confusion. We'll have formal and informal writing, and just a lot of writing, a lot of chance to articulate and sort your ideas. I do really urge you, I'm not going to require it, but I urge you to keep a reading journal. And you will find that keeping a reading journal makes it much easier when you go back to write your papers, when you go back to do your final project, and even years from now when you are going back, if you're an educator, you're teaching a course in literature, or no matter what you're doing, that you will have that really solid set of notes. And keeping it online or keeping it by hand is probably more appropriate based on the research that I'm seeing coming out about what helps our retention. So I do encourage print and handwritten notes. So that's what I am going through. Please review the grading criteria. They're pretty standard, but I do expect you to review them and be familiar with them, and the things I will be looking at when I'm evaluating. This is an online course, and as an online course, I expect you to be able to participate in it. There are some technology pieces. I do expect you to attend online. If you don't log on for 3 weeks, I will consider you not to be in the course anymore. I won't withdraw you. You have to withdraw yourself. I only give incompletes in the case of dire emergencies. They are not to be handed out like candy. And I will not give them unless there is a valid reason. Please review my missed or late assignments policy. Plagiarism, know what it is and don't do it. I have a zero tolerance policy when it comes to plagiarism, and I have turned in students before, and I will do it again if it is done. Please notify me of emergencies and if you're going to be absent. Non-discrimination policy, students with disabilities, all of those things are included in the syllabus, and you can please review them so you know what's available to you. The course schedule is laid out here in the syllabus. It will also be, and this gives you details on all of the modules and the readings that will be in each module and the major assignments. All of these will also be available through the modules as we progress through the course. My only other note on the modules is that I have set it up so that in order to move on to the next module, you need to complete all of the activities in the first module. So we will try that and see if that works as the course moves onward. If that starts to create havoc with our progress through the course, then I will readjust that. I'm going to click real quickly on the discussions so you can see what is up for this week. I've created 2 discussions for the duration of the course. British Literature 911 is for you when you have questions, when inevitably I've put up the wrong due date, something doesn't work on the course. It's an online course. It happens. So please feel free to post in this if you have any questions. And the reason I asked you to do that is I'd rather do that than have 26 or 27 students all emailing me and me answering each one of you individually, when, first of all, I can answer one of you and everybody gets the message, or secondarily, often other students will already have the answer to your question. Sometimes they'll know it better than I will. The second thing that I've put up, which is just a general area for us to have fun, is what I call the coffee house. It's for any kind of discussions we want to have that are not directly pertinent to the course, but might be. So maybe you found a really cool resource, you don't know where to put it. Maybe you found a neat event, there's a poetry reading coming up, there's something else that you'd like to share, or you just have some sort of observation. Share it here. This is a fun place for us to just have that coffee house kind of conversation. This week, what we have on board are the introductions, the syllabus, and the course schedule. And included in that discussion of the syllabus and course schedule, I would like you to let me know if there is a time when you would be available to meet synchronously online, and or if you're interested in having some face-to-face meetings during the semester. I am in Michigan until September 2nd, but I will be back in New Mexico and willing to come down to Las Cruces from Silver City whenever works for you. And you can see that I've posted our first discussion assignment for next week. I will get those other ones up within the next couple of days. I think that's all I'm going to go over for the moment. Do be aware that the announcements are another useful tool, and I will use them to send out announcements throughout the class. I don't send them out automatically because everything should be available to you to review. I really encourage you to put time for this course on your own personal calendar. Set aside a time, just as you would if it were a face-to-face course, to do the reading and to do the work of the course. And that's how we will all succeed. And please do contact me with any kind of questions, comments. I'm open and really want to make this a great course for all of us. Again, thanks a lot, and I'm looking forward to seeing you online.